Welcome to the program. In this show,
cost of transport is about 45% of the total cost of production of goods and services.
It has become cheaper.
How movement of goods affects your pocket. That is, how what you will pay for as a consumer depends on how long the product you are buying has taken to reach its destination.
Countries with ports rely on the ports in their economic development.
We speak to various stakeholders in cross-border trade to find out if there is any improvement in the movement of goods in the region, or is it just a mere talk?
Kutoka Mombasa mpaka Rwanda nimetumia siku 4.
And what's the future of these transporters on the road with the coming of the standard gauge railway?
And we are talking about one train ferrying 216 containers, which would equal about 108 trucks off Mombasa Road.
So sit back, relax, and follow us to find out what happens on the highways all the way from the port of Mombasa to various destinations in the region, including Kampala, Kigali, and Bujumbura. But first, here is our fact sheet.
According to the Northern Corridor Transit and Transport Coordination Authority, the entire Northern Corridor road network covers an approximate distance of 8,800 kilometers. The Northern Corridor links Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Transport along this corridor is fully liberalized. Mombasa Port, that is managed by the Kenya Ports Authority, is Kenya's principal seaport and a major provider of essential international maritime links for landlocked neighboring countries. Statistics indicate that Uganda relies heavily on the port of Mombasa. About 80% of its imports pass through the port, accounting for about 15% of total traffic through Mombasa. To make it easier for people to do business in the region, Northern Corridor member states set out to create a single customs territory. The implementation of the single customs territory clearance procedures began at the end of 2013 as a step towards the removal of restrictive regulations and reducing internal border controls on goods moving between partner states. The ultimate goal is the free circulation of goods. A single customs territory reduces the cost of doing business by eliminating duplication of processes. It also reduces administrative costs, regulatory requirements, and the risks associated with non-compliance on the transit of goods. Trade and Markets East Africa, otherwise known as Trademark East Africa, an East African not-for-profit company that supports the growth of trade in the region and reduction of poverty, is a key stakeholder in cross-border trade in the region. The organization in June 2014 spearheaded the signing of the Mombasa Port Community Charter that expresses the desire by the Mombasa Port community, including government bodies and the private sector, to work together in order to actualize the full potential of the port and the Northern Corridor.
There you are, ease of movement of goods on the Northern Corridor and its impacts on the economy. That is the focus of our show today. Now, recently on our sister show, Daring Abroad, we featured a Rwandese truck driver all the way from Mombasa to Kigali, and we found that in the past, the journey would take about 10 days, but he took just 4 days to complete the journey. In this show, we follow a Kenyan truck driver, so stand by for that story as we kick off the program with a look at some of the stakeholders, their roles, and what transporters specifically are saying. Take a look. Efficiency on the Northern Corridor depends on many stakeholders, at least 20 of them, from both the public and private sectors, with the Kenya Ports Authority being at the center stage.
Countries with ports rely on the ports in their economic development. In our case, not only is it a Vision 2030 project, but it is also a project that is going to service the hinterland. It serves the hinterland, which has got over 100 million people. So we are affecting the economies and lives of people in Rwanda, Uganda, Burundi, and even northern Tanzania, up to the Republic of Congo.
Although local traffic to Kenya represents a substantial volume of incoming cargo, part of the raw materials imported through the port of Mombasa and destined to Kenya manufacturers is re-exported after transformation to the other countries of the region.
Ports are only as good as their evacuation systems. So it is important that whatever comes into the port is quickly evacuated to where it is supposed to go. It is supposed to reach industries. Probably it's going to be fertilizer reaching out to farmers.
To enhance efficiency at the port, expansion of handling capacity is crucial.
It was necessary to construct the second container terminal because we realized that we had to create capacity ahead of time. Cargo in this region has been growing, and for us as a port, containerized cargo has been growing at the rate of 9.5% per year.
Starting from the shipping line, there is also some challenges there. Actually, there's not exact days that it takes there, but it normally takes roughly like 3 days for you to get the delivery order. That's back at the shipping line. After which is when you come to KPA, to the KRA to release the file, the goods with them. They check on the duties if they are paid correctly, is when they release them to KPA. That's where you go and inquire the charges for the clearance of the storage of the goods at the port. With the KPA, they had some problem with their network. Somehow it has taken like a week with them.
I think the port has improved tremendously. We have really pushed them to the wall as stakeholders. I will tell you that if anybody wants to be honest in the port, we have really pushed the port management to improve, and they have improved. No more hiccups or hiccups which can be corrected, but I think things have really improved in the port of Mombasa.
Meanwhile, the Kenya Revenue Authority clears imported goods before they arrive at the port of Mombasa in efforts aimed at improving cargo clearance and easing congestion at the harbour. Traders can fill import declaration documents online and submit for the taxman to process them before the cargo arrives at the port. Then there is the one-stop border points where processing of documents is handled under one roof.
We have the neighbors officers on our side to do the profiling they need, and we have our officers on the side of the immediate neighbors like Uganda to be able to confirm that the goods that left Kenya have actually arrived in Uganda. And then we have electronic cargo tracking system, which is usually electronically armed on the trucks, and it is disarmed after crossing the border.
Now, efficient movement of goods is a result of synergy among the various stakeholders to the extent that one missed step can cause serious delays.
If KRA does the clearance in 1 minute, it does not mean that the goods will come out of the port in 1 minute. KPA has to do their part, Port Health has to do their part, all the police and everyone else who is operating at the port has to do their part.
Very big improvements. I remember when we started, it was taking, I think, like 2 weeks for goods, to transport goods from the port of Mombasa to Rwanda, for example. Now it's taking only 4 or 5 days. For example, at the border, you had to clear your goods to process the papers on the Kenyan side of the border. Then you cross to Uganda side of the border. You could stay like 2-3 days at the border posts only. What is happening now is the customs officers of Kenya and Uganda are sitting in the same office. So when you bring your papers, this one stamps the documents, hands them over to his Ugandan counterpart. He stamps the documents, and you are gone. It comes now to the cost of transportation, and which of course has an impact on the price, the transport price, and the cost of goods when you reach destination. So it has become cheaper.
When you come to business, one of the biggest challenges that East Africa has had is that our cost of transport is about 45% of the total cost of production of goods and services, which makes us an unattractive destination for investment. Any investor looking at the transport cost is discouraged to come to the region because of that element. And this is because the movement of cargo, movement of passengers between Mombasa and into the region has been very expensive because of the inefficient road network. The failure of the railway to deliver on its mandate has overloaded the road, and that then has caused the clogs that you find on the corridor.
We have the Northern Corridor Transport Observatory, which takes stock of the time released. It's some kind of weekly time release study, and we have weekly stakeholder meetings where we discuss where our shortfalls were, where there was any difficulty, and how we can go about it.
Time now to go practical. Here is the story of a Kenyan truck driver, John Okaka Odhiambo. After going through the necessary procedures at the port of Mombasa that paved the way for loading, John Okaka Odhiambo's truck is now being loaded, and this is happening around 9 p.m., ready to begin his journey to Kigali. But he decides to rest enough, and he embarks on the journey the following day around 3 p.m. Odhiambo is not sure how long his journey will take, but he estimates that it could be 4 to 5 days depending on traffic flow, time taken at the way bridges, and clearance at the borders.
Sehemu tunakaa sana ni upande wa Malaba, Uganda. Tunakaa sana sababu ya clearing. Tunasubiri mzigo wafanye clearing pale Malaba.
Nightfall finds Odhiambo in Mutito Ande on day 1 of his journey. Fast forward, and on day 2 we are in burnt forest. John, we pumzika, tuonane utakapoanza safari tena. Na mimi pia nipumzike.
Asante jamaa.
Good night, tuonane. Asante sana. Yeah, cheers. See you, bye. Odhiambo goes ahead of us the following day, and we find he has already cleared at Malaba, the border between Kenya and Uganda, by the time we reach him.
Kwa clearance hapa nilikuwa lazima wajue mzigo gani nimebeba, ndo walipia ushuru, ndo nipate kupita nikielekea Katuna. Safari iko sawa, hata nikitoka hapa barabara ni nzuri. Natarajia kufika boda kesho.
John Okaka Odhiambo's story continues right after the break. Also ahead, what will be the impact of the standard gauge railway on road transportation? Don't go away. Welcome back. We are discussing the impact of ease of movement of goods on the Northern Corridor, how it affects your pocket, the impact on prices, the impact on the economy in general. Time now to continue with our story, the experience of a Kenyan truck driver, John Okaka Odhiambo. Take a look. Odhiambo arrives in Kigali 4 days after departing Mombasa. He was transporting goods for Nakumatt Kigali branch, and this is the warehouse where the goods will be offloaded.
Kutoka Mombasa mpaka Rwanda nimetumia siku 4. Kutoka Mombasa Mariakani Weighbridge, nimepima Mlolongo Weighbridge, alafu Gilgil Weighbridge, baada ya Gilgil Weighbridge ni Webuye Weighbridge. Ndio, Weighbridge ya mwisho ni Webuye. Barabara ya Mombasa ndio ilikuwa na kidogo barabara mbovu na ndio inatuchokesha sana. Barabara huku Uganda barabara nzuri Uganda mpaka Rwanda ndio.
Odhiambo gives us a breakdown of some of the payments he had to make on the road.
Uganda nimelipa 15,500 ya road toll. Malaba mpaka boda ya Katuna. Ndio. Alafu Rwanda nimelipa $1,152. Ndio ya road toll.
When it comes to movement of goods in the region, there are two main corridors landlocked countries depend on. There is the northern corridor through the port of Mombasa and the central corridor through the port of Dar es Salaam. We sought to find out what's the difference between the two in terms of cost and efficiency.
Rwanda goods are passing through the port of Dar es Salaam to the tune of 70%. Only 30% is passing through the port of Mombasa. So things have changed with the years. We are getting less and less goods for Rwanda through the port of Mombasa.
So is it cheaper for one to transport through Tanzania than Kenya at the end of the day?
Yes, at the end of the day, now it has become cheaper. It has become cheaper because also roads in Tanzania, before there was also a challenge of roads. Your roads were in a pathetic situation in Tanzania. It's unfortunate. We are having less and less goods to transport through the port of Mombasa. We are actually also contemplating perhaps to open an office in Dar es Salaam. Kenya is still more efficient at the port of Dar es Salaam. But you know, our business people, they just look at the bill. If I say, if I transport your goods through the port of Dar es Salaam, I'll charge you, let's say, $3,600. And when I transport the same goods in Mombasa, I'll charge you $3,800. There is a difference of only $200. But our business people will tell you it's cheaper to transport through while perhaps it takes longer. You know, when it takes longer, well, so you feel you are gaining $200, but you have lost a week time, for example. And this also is a loss because in business you have also to rotate your money. If I get my goods 1 week before you and I sell the same goods, I am able to get the money and make another again while you are waiting for your goods to reach. So at the end of the day, I have benefited. But it's sometimes difficult to explain this to our people. It's actually, Mombasa Port is still more efficient. But we have room to improve if we want to compete. Now it's not in the old days. Many countries have now choices. And when they don't have choices, they are building them. If I tell you, for example, I hope you read that Uganda, Tanzania and Uganda have put in place, have I think put their effort together. And there is a railway coming from the port of Dar es Salaam to Kampala. They have already got the money from the Chinese. So if we need to survive as a port in Kenya, we need to compete and we need to remove those barriers. Of course, Kenya is also building, as you know, a railway from the port of Mombasa to Kampala. But there will be 2 railways. But then people will be having choices. You need to be more efficient to get more business.
Okay. Then there is the standard gauge railway. When it becomes operational, will those tracks still be on the highway? Or put it this way, are road transporters prepared for the anticipated change?
For the movement of goods, that is very, very fast. If you have 216 containers moving between Mombasa and Nairobi within 8 hours, and those are 100 trucks off the road. there will be, that is total transformation. It has not been done before, and that makes it possible for our manufacturers or our suppliers will be able to reduce, for example, the amount of stocks they hold in their go-downs, because with an efficient transport, you reduce on your stock levels, which makes it then possible for you to have more cash in your bank, which makes it most possible for you to reduce it reduces the cost of production, which hopefully must translate to the end product, which then makes the region a more attractive place for investors. And it also then helps to reduce the cost of the final products, which then makes us or our producers here be able to compete with others across the region. For the truck hauliers, there is an opportunity for them to work with standard gauge railway. The railway is never good at doing short distances. We don't do the first mile, we don't do the last mile. There are immense opportunities for truckers to work with the railway sector in order to serve the community better. I think the whole issue is just, it provides an opportunity for the transport sector to become more efficient, to become more organized.
As a road transporter, I'll be open to you, or rail transport is not good for me. But as a region, as a citizen of East Africa, of course, I have to say the rail transport is good, because it will make transportation cheaper and even faster. It will save on the roads.
The existing infrastructure, without a doubt, will tremendously change the way business is done in this country, and definitely benefit the economy. We have to bear in mind that, we operate currently from a non-existent railway system, which is totally unreliable and does not work. And in June next year, we'll have a fully functioning system.
All right, that's where we end today's show. We discussed the impact of ease of movement of goods in the region on the economy, specifically Poa.
I like the Chamwada Report.
The Chamwada Report?
Yeah.
So you watch it?
Always on Sunday.
Let me ask you, what time does it come?
8:30 p.m.
Why do you like it?
It's informative.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so humbled to hear that you watch the show.
I will always.
Okay,
Even on Monday,
what's your name?
My name is Douglas.
Douglas.
Yeah.
Thank you and keep watching.
Okay.
Unaelekea wapi?
I'm just in the town.
Asante sana.
Okay.
You see, I'm so humbled. That's how we get feedback right on location. And on behalf of the crew, let me just tell you, we were saying today we discussed the impact of ease of movement of goods on the Northern Corridor on the economy, specifically your pocket. So on behalf of the crew, until we meet again next time, I'm your host, Alex Chamwada, and bye-bye for now.